Hello and welcome to On the Couch with Nomzamo. We're still on the month of love and we continue to explore topics around izinto zothando. For all you lovebirds out there, we know that this is probably your most favorite month because of Valentine's Day. Yeah, some of you are secretly hoping for romantic dinners, a bay weekend away, or some are hoping for him to finally put that ring on it. Well, here on the couch, we hope your wishes do come true. And before you get super excited, do take the time to understand at which stage is your relationship and if this is where you truly want to be. Last time we spoke about dating and touched a bit on the difference between dating and courting. Today, the topic is courting with an intention to get married. Yes, yes, I promised and I delivered. And to talk to us more on this topic is Mrs. Nicole Masuku. Nicole has been married for 3 years to her wonderful husband. And I asked Nicole to grace the on the couch because for as long as I've known her and her husband, they've courted with an intention to get married until they had their beautiful wedding day about 3 years ago. Nicole, welcome to On the Couch.
Thank you, Nomzamo. It's lovely to be invited.
Yeah, and I must say you look so beautiful.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So do you, as always.
Thank you. Thank you, Nicole. Tell us a bit about who Nicole is and your dating journey with your husband.
So I'm married. I have a little boy, 1 year, 5-month-old boy. And I've been married for 3 years, like you said. So I met my husband, well, at that time, I met my husband for the first time in 2013 at a wedding. It was at my cousin's wedding, actually. So he happens to be very good friends with a cousin of mine. So he was one of the groomsmen. And so I met him at the wedding. There was no chemistry whatsoever. And we just got to know each other and then started officially dating with the purpose to get married in 2015. So we just were introduced to each other as like usisi nomnawakhe, ubhuti nomnawakhe. And I went away actually for my studies. So we didn't really stay in contact for a long time. And when I came back to South Africa, we reconnected and yeah.
Yeah. And there's a saying by Ravi Zacharias that says, you will make your heaven or hell on earth by the person you decide to marry. So when you got into that boyfriend-girlfriend relationship stage with him, what were the qualities that you were looking for at the time? I know we girls, we always have a checklist and we told Doug, handsome, this and that. What were you looking for in terms of equality in both him and the relationship?
Yeah. So I think for me, what was more important was the fact that he was saved. So it was a very important thing for me that he knew Christ. And I mean, I had an entire long list about, what he was supposed to do, how he was supposed to relate to me, the kind of family that he came from. So I think they were sort of, key qualities that I did look out for. Not all of them were met, as you can imagine. But I think, it's important that at least the person that you meet, or at least in my case, I found that, at least if most of my main qualities were met, then we could, work around some of the ones that weren't met.
Hi, Nicole Pumanenda, but what were the qualities? At least give us 3, your soul,
Okay, I'll tell you. So okay. So I think for me, the qualities, so I had a list of the key qualities that I wanted, But like I said, not all of them were met. But I think the primary ones were met, and that's when I sort of, started really being serious about him. So I wanted a godly man, someone that is devoted to Christ, has a relationship with Christ. Reason being, a lot of things and issues are avoided solely because, we have that same foundational understanding of,
Yes.
core principles in the Bible. So that was important to me. And I wanted someone that came from a complete family, so like a nuclear family, where both parents were married, and he was raised in a home that had a successful marriage. So I didn't have that, but I wanted to be married into a family like that. So at least that was there, and most importantly, someone that was driven, someone that would allow me to also run my race, grow and achieve my highest potential without being intimidated. So that was important for me. So family-oriented person was very important to me, someone that loves children, someone that loves family. And yeah, so I think those are the main things. I mean, there were some things that I looked out for, like how he handles his finances, how he handles, how he carries himself around people, umuntu onjani, like umuntu osnapayo or okwatayo, how is he around people, So for me, those were the main things. I mean, there were a lot of things about, how he looked like, how he, little nitty-gritties.
Yes.
Not all of them were made, but the main ones for me were ticked.
Correct.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned the way it sounds. It's like it was a long period. Now my next question is to get to understand the transition between the dating stage and when you then progress to dating with an intention to get married. At what point did you know that you moved from one stage to another? And did you sit and discuss that, or it just happened organically?
Yeah. So like I said, I met him, then I went away for my studies, right? We were dating, we were just getting to know each other, like a friendship, I guess.
Yeah.
Whilst I was away. So on the phone, we were getting to know each other. He was also living his life. We were not committed to each other, right? And when I came back from my stuff, I was overseas. So when I came back to South Africa in Joburg, we actually had like a sit down where he expressed his intentions to start courting. So we sat down, and he was like, what, I want to get to know you with the intention to get married. And yeah, so we had a sit down where he shared his vision or dream with me, and I agreed, obviously, because I was sold. So yeah, to answer your question, yes, we did sit down, and this was in 2015, mid 2015.
Yeah. And then And at what point did you get involved in his life, and to what extent, including his family, his circle of friends? How did you approach that life? That part of your relationship, and did you had a talk about it as well, or it again happened nje wabona so yaziwe family nabangani bakhe, they are now acknowledging your existence? How did that work out?
Yeah, so I think it happened organically, like naturally. We didn't really plan anything, to be honest. The easiest was the friends, obviously, because we hang out with friends, and casually. So I actually only met his family. I would so I met some of his cousins, when they would come to his place and see him, or if we meet at a braai or whatever. And that wasn't like official, but I was invited to a 60th birthday for one of his much older brothers, and there I was literally like introduced to his aunt, and so he introduced me to them as a friend. And in our culture, when a guy introduces a girl to his family, ati umngani wami, they sort of know what it means.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's when I would say that, and that was about uh, a year later since the conversation that we had had.
Mm.
So in terms of meeting like abadala, it was like a year into our courting relationship, but friends and cousins, it was it just happened randomly. Like if we're invited to a braai or party, we didn't literally say, okay, come, we're having a dinner for introducing umumu to you guys. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I think, there was obviously myself immersing myself into his life and into his lifestyle and vice versa. So I mean, obviously when you start courting, you spend a lot of time together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I went in, I was, washing for the guy, cleaning up for him when I would, visit him.
I
So,
really
it was a lot of, I think, when you sort of have that, okay, we are getting married anyway, so let me just,
yeah.
really like dive in. Yeah. So I don't recommend it, but I did that. Hopefully it works out for everyone that does that. But in some cases, when it doesn't, you do feel a bit shortchanged. So I would, be careful there.
And at some stage, did you then entertain the thought of cohabiting?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was always, like a sad moment whenever I would have to go back home. So I was staying with my grandparents at the time when we were courting. So there was always that inhibition, but I wanted to spend more time. I wanted to get to live life with him. How was it to wake up next to him every day? But fortunately, we didn't get to cohabit. Yeah.
So Matandwe. So thank goodness for the grandparents, because
Yeah,
the some
yeah.
of it, I think you would have gone
I
into.
would have. No, absolutely. I mean, I would go there on Saturdays and like, nje ngikline kube, and I mean, it was my home kind of. I mean, I made it my home. So I would have wanted to be there, but yeah, we didn't. Yeah.
It felt wonderful to have a woman's touch in the house,
Oh,
just
of
to linger
course.
long enough to the next Saturday. Ukuthi makabuye umuntu wami, I can't wait.
Yeah, I think it's obviously nice for the guys. I mean, I always say in any marriage, the guy is the one that benefits the most, because of all these services that you get.
We
But like
rent
I said,
for
I wouldn't
free.
for free, exactly. But I wouldn't advise a person that is courting to, immerse themselves in that way. Yeah, I mean, you are still courting, you're still getting to know each other, you're still, you're not yet married, you don't have that obligation.
There's a twist there. You loved the
Mm,
idea. You didn't get into doing it, but now you're
yes.
pushing other people not to. Why, Nicole?
Okay, so what I mean is it's obviously it's nice ukwenzela umuntu wakho omthandayo, right?
Mm.
But I don't know, like there's a balance, right? You need to also um know where to stop because you're not yet married to this person.
Yeah.
I feel like we give ourselves over to these guys so much, to the point that when things don't work out as we've planned, we feel shortchanged. So it's a good thing. It's a good gesture. I'm not saying it's negative in any way, but I'm just saying that there's always that caveat that, okay, if things don't work out, you don't feel shortchanged. I mean, it's also with, intimacy. Like, how far do you go to the point that at the end of the day, you're able to stand with pride and know it's okay. I loved this person. He didn't take anything away from me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially that thing that means so much that you would stand
Yeah.
aside to say you didn't have that. So
Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Interesting. Now, I think my next question, having traveled the road that finally got you to the marriage stage, what would you say were the lessons learned during your courting stage, and what advice would you give to others on the good, the bad, and the
Mm.
ugly in transition to marriage life?
Yeah. So I think some of the lessons for me were just communicating. So I think what made us sort of, successful or get to the end of our courtship successfully was the communication. It wasn't always smooth. So I think a lesson for me was, having to communicate your dreams to each other, your aspirations. Don't assume. A lot of times we make assumptions as women, especially where, you should know that by now, I'm ready to, or, and we give a lot of hints instead of, blatantly,
Just come
communicating what
out
we want.
and state your case.
Yes, absolutely. So I had to learn that the hard way. I mean, what example can I give? Um, mm, oh, okay. So with oh yes, this is a very good example. So so okay. It's, we agreed on the date for the lobola, the first lobola negotiations,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we're very clear about when we would do that. And a funny thing, my husband hadn't like planned to propose,
Oh,
you know. So I remember just, like the lobola date was coming up and there was no proposal. And I remember, saying to him, like I literally had to like spit it out and be like, oh, so like, are you not going to propose? It's like,
yeah, like
oh,
no,
but like,
no.
it's, exactly. Um, so, I mean, there was no like element of surprise. I mean, it had completely been eliminated because, I had asked him. So, he literally didn't think that, it was important. So, I mean, we did the Lobola negotiations, and then before the final, meeting for the Lobola negotiations, that's when he did like a nice proposal. Yeah, so
No,
I think
the man had a plan. The man had a plan. He
I
had something up his sleeve.
think I think it came up after the nudging from me. But like I said, I had to be, clear about,
Mm.
what my expectations were. In as much as, fine, he had a different plan. It was important for me, and it was important that I state that to him. So I would say communication is so important, honest communication,
Yes,
because ultimately that's those are the building blocks of a solid relationship, right? Where you're able to say anything to your person.
that's true. And it's
Yeah.
so, when you say exactly that last point, it's so critical for a couple to understand that communication is deeper than just exchanging of information. And
Mm.
there needs to be the person conveying the message and the next person being ready to receive with an understanding, because
Absolutely.
sometimes in our relationships, our marriages, our with our partners, you know futhi especially thina mantombazana, where it's kind of you listen with an intention to respond, not to understand. And that becomes, ngathi ku-institution training. After you've
Yes.
gotten into the relationship or the marriage, then you have
Yeah.
to unlearn some of the
And
habits
then,
so that
yeah.
you can get to the stage of being able to speak with kindness, receive with
Mm.
understanding, and also realize that communication is more than just an exchange of information, but you need to be in a
Absolutely.
space where both of you um, are talking deeper so that the space is conducive for both of you to open up as part
Yes,
of getting to
absolutely.
know each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Spot on.
And then lastly, Nicole, knowing what you know now, would you do things the same way? Or there are things you'd like to tweak there and there? Should you relive the courting part of your journey towards getting married? Uh, anything you can
Mm.
say about that?
Um, I think I would I would enjoy my courtship. You know, sometimes um when you sort of officialize that courtship, or you know that you know you want to get married, there's some level of like seriousness where you know you're too scared to fail. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, oh no, I shouldn't, you know, maybe let me like, you know, hold back, you know, here, or let me not
Extra
be. Yes, exactly. The stakes are so high that sometimes you don't even really enjoy. You don't, you know, you don't relax, you know. So I would definitely, you know, have enjoyed. I think, I mean, yeah, it's hard to obviously relive some of the things, because sometimes, you know, the mistakes that we make actually are important for,
Yeah.
you know, building the people that we are today. But I think I would say definitely enjoy, definitely, you know, do activities, go out, Jolani, yeah, Jolani, and don't be too concrete, like, you know, or inflexible. If timelines change, it's also fine, you know. Accommodate each other ultimately. Yeah.
Who was the most serious one between you and your husband?
I was. Of course, you know.
But Tangiti Tina, we also have that childhood dream that when a guy proposes, you kind of retrieve from the back of your head, and you start unpacking that dream and bring it
Yeah,
into the current state and the current reality. And
yeah.
by the time Bastella, sisuke sesinayo i-plan.
It's a life plan, babe.
We're not just waiting there for you to tell me we're getting married, you have intention to marry me. Then Mina, I
Yes,
retrieve the file at the back of my head, I put it into
yes,
a physical form so that I share with you my dream. That's why masuke
yes.
our perfect wedding, uthole indoda seyikhomenta nge-catering, ne-cake, and I'm like, oh, bro, why are you messing with the
Ungenaphi.
cream? Why are you messing? Sort out your suit. Nakona, I will tell you the design and the
If
color.
it's okay.
You know, when I should just be
Absolutely.
there, just be there
Yeah.
on the day, on time. Oh, wow, Nicole, thank you so much. This has been so refreshing, so enlightening. I really appreciate you gracing the couch on this beautiful
Thank
day. And
you.
again, you look absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
There you go, Bagiti Nizwele. In closing, be aware that romantic love can sometimes be fantasy love. But it's okay to relax in your courting stage. Don't get too serious. And enjoy your courting stage, because
Mm.
um, there are more serious things that you're gonna encounter when you are now in marriage. There's kids, there's bills, there's the running of the household. So yes, especially when you know you're
Mm.
courting with an intention to get married, chill, enjoy
Mm.
umuntu wakho, umfunde, so that when that wedding day comes, it becomes your one day fantasy event, which is nice, fun, but marriage is to be lived out for the rest of your lives together. Thank you. And we will see
Oh.
you next time when we will be talking being married. Next time we get into the
Yes.
crux of the matter. Please do join us, because I have a special guest for you who specializes. She's a relationship coach. She specializes up on marriage, nezinto eziphathelene nokuthandana kwabantu emshadweni. So make an appointment. Look out for us and the details on our social media pages so that you don't miss that interview with our special guest to be talking to us about Izinto Zothando Emshadweni. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.